guys, it's Jamie, and in this video, we are running through the entire health history module in Dentrix. So we're going to go through getting it set up for your entire system, as well as how to view, edit, and make changes to each particular patient as you need to. So let's get right into it.
Quick side note for any hygienists, if you temp or are even thinking about temping, I personally use Teero and I love it. You can view all available shifts, read office reviews, and even check details like what software the office uses and appointment length before you go in. It offers a ton of flexibility, so you really control your own schedule. It's W-2, not 1099, and pay is direct deposited. Usually same day pay is even available. I'll put the link in the description if you want to check it out. Now let's get into the tutorial.
Okay, so we're going to jump into the patient's health history. So just so you are aware, you can access patient's health history from pretty much any module in Dentrix. So from the family file, it's right here. In the patient's chart, it is right here. And even from the appointment book, if you're selected on the patient, you can click it right there. Now you can see that all of those were different colors. For a patient's health history, if it is white, that means there's nothing in there. If it's yellow like this, that means there's information in there, but nothing that's marked as critical. And if it's red, like this one, that means there's information in there and there's something in there that is marked as critical. So just at a quick glance, you can get a little bit of an idea that, hey, I might need to click in here and see what's going on. So we're going to set up our health history first. So to do that, we need to get into the health history setup. You can do it by opening any patient's health history module, and up here at the top where it says add, click that and click any of these: medical condition, allergy, or medication. We just want to get into the setup. So from this, add a medical condition, click these arrows. This pulls up all of your medical conditions, and this gear icon opens up the health history setup. So this is where we want to get to set up the health history. So this is not for this specific patient. This is for the entire health history setup for your Dentrix system. So in here, you have general settings, medical conditions, allergies, and medication. In these three tabs, you'll see all of the things that are in the system already. So all of the medical conditions that are already in your system, all of the allergies, and all of the medication. If you're setting up your Dentrix system for the first time, there will not be very much in here. I think there's some like default Dentrix medical conditions in here, but you'll pretty much need to add everything in. So if you're setting up from new, you're going to be adding a lot in. If you're just using this video as an overview of how to use it and your office already does, you'll likely already have a lot of things listed in here. But either way, if you want to add something new, you click on this add button, you type in the medical condition, and you can toggle between these options. So you can have it show up in the patient's questionnaire. You can mark this medical condition as critical, and you can display a pop-up alert for this medical condition. Once you enter the new medical condition, click OK, and that will add it into your system. Same thing for medications and allergies. You'll just click add new, type it in, and it will add it into your system. Now, to switch gears to when you're reviewing a patient's specific medical history with them and you need to make changes or add things to their specific health history, we're going to go through that now. In this patient's chart, there are no current medical conditions, allergies, or medications reported. So we're going to go through and add those in now. So this first icon up here is add. And this is where you can select any one of these. You can select just medical condition, allergy, medication. When you do that, it just pulls up this screen where you can just type in medical conditions, select it. You can add a note here and click OK. And you see it adds it right in there. And then you will go through and add allergies and medication. You can do them one by one like that. That is an option. But my recommendation and what I do to help me move along more efficiently is use this add multiple. So click this, and this pulls in all of the medical conditions, allergies, and medications that you have available to choose from. So all you do is just start typing. So we've already added diabetes in, so say she's also taking metformin, click the medication and click add. We'll say she's allergic to penicillin. Just start typing and it will pull up all of the options. So she's allergic to penicillin. We add everything in here. So say she has high blood pressure, add that in here. Once you have everything, you can see on the side here things that are selected. These are what you are currently adding. And then at the bottom, this is her current health history, things that are already in her health history. So once it's in there, you click OK, and that adds everything into her health history. Now down here at the bottom is prescriptions. So anytime your office prescribes something, it will show here so you can have an easy place to access all previous prescriptions that the office has given to the patient. You can also access the prescriptions here on this top icon. You click that, it opens the patient's prescriptions. And from here, you can add new, you can refill and go into their prescriptions from here. On this side, you'll see health history notes. This is really useful for anything that's not already in your medical conditions or not something that you necessarily want to add into your medical condition or medication, but just a note that you want to make. I've been using this a lot with patients. I've been seeing a lot more. I know it's trendy right now, but a lot more patients using the medication Ozempic or Zepbound, and those are typically used for patients that have diabetes, but more and more I'm seeing people that are using it for weight management. So if I see a reported medication of Ozempic, but I don't see a medical condition for diabetes, I'm going to start questioning. I'm going to be asking the patient, what do you take this medication for? Do you have diabetes? And I'm going to go down that line of questioning with the patient because I won't understand what the correlation is between the Ozempic. Why are they taking that? So if it's not for a specific medical condition or they're taking it for an off-label use, I like to add that over here into the note. So you just click edit note. You can add in your note, patient taking Ozempic for weight management, and click OK. So that way it makes sense to anyone else who's viewing this health history. That's what comes up a lot with notes is it may make sense to me, but is it going to make sense to the next person who opens this chart? So keeping it as simple and easy for the rest of your team as possible, that's the goal. So under that, we have contacts. So we have emergency contacts, physicians, pharmacy, all of that information here. So you can just click the arrow next to it to add. So in this case, we'll add a new emergency contact. We'll put in the patient's name or the emergency contact name, put in their phone number and click OK. And you'll see now it shows as their emergency contact. You click OK and it's right in here. Same for a physician. You can add their primary MD. You can add new, you can add a specialist, anything that is relevant in here, and as well as their pharmacy. And then this last area, this is health history questionnaire forms. So if you use the questionnaires in Dentrix, it will show a list of the forms that the patient has filled out and the date in which they responded to that form. So all useful to know, so you know when they're due for their next update and what they filled out and when they filled it out. Very helpful to know. Before we wrap this up, I want to review these icons on the top here. So this first one we already went through, that's adding something new. This one is a view edit. So if you're selected on something and you click view edit, it will open this screen where you can make a note. You can inactivate from here. You can change if it's critical or if you want to add a pop-up for this. That all happens here. This one is Inactivate. So if the patient comes in and says, oh, I'm no longer taking this medication here, you can select it, click Inactivate, and that pulls this screen up where you can leave a note if you need to and click OK. That inactivates it. You can also right click and inactivate. That's another way of getting to that. This is to delete. In most cases, I say stay away from deleting things and focus more on inactivating things because even if the patient's no longer on that medication or no longer has that medical condition, it's an important part of their overall medical record. So it's nice to have a reference point at any point to look back and see their full history. So unless something was entered into their chart by mistake, I would always inactivate. If it was a mistake, you could delete it for that reason. This next icon is show inactive. So if I inactivated this medication, patient's no longer taking this medication, it shows as inactive. It shows also when they originally started taking it, when they reported it to us, and when they reported to us that they stopped taking it. Now that's always going to show on here unless you select this icon to not show inactive, to show or not show. It keeps it a little cleaner if you keep inactive hidden. I like this because in my office with my patients, I usually pull this screen up on the computer in front of my patient and review all of it with them. And if it shows a bunch of inactive things, it looks less clean. It confuses the patient. So it's best just to hide inactive. This icon is for selecting patient. So if you want to switch over to another patient's chart, you can click that and select a new patient. Copy to clinical note. This icon, if you click this, it will copy to a clinical note in the patient's chart. Print. This will print your entire health history for this patient. This is really useful. Sometimes in my office, we'll print their health history form so the front office can show them to review it as they're filling out their new form. They can see what they had before because that is such a common thing. All of these health history forms, they start with, have you had any changes in the last 6 months? And pretty much everybody says no because they don't know what was in there last time. So it's good to give the patient a reference of what they did have listed in previous visits. You can access the patient's document center from here, refresh, and we already touched on prescriptions earlier. Okay, so that was the overview of the health history module in Dentrix. This is such a crucial aspect of what we do, especially as clinicians, as dental professionals. We all know how important it is to look at the patient's whole health and treat them comprehensively. So Dentrix has this built in that makes it much simpler for us to view this and make changes. And so I hope this video helped you navigate that. And if you're into videos like this and learning more about dental tech and tips and tutorials, then subscribe to this channel. I post new videos every week. So I will see you in the next one.